Every intelligent grandmother knows that the fire must not be allowed to go out in a room where there is a child not yet christened, that the water in which the newborn is washed should not be thrown out, and a needle or some other article of steel must be attached to its diapers. If attention is not paid to these precautions, it may happen that the child will be exchanged by the Fae, as once occurred in Bretna many years ago. A young peasant's wife had given birth to her first child. Her mother, who had been assigned to officiate the first duties, was supposed to arrive and christen the child, but the evening before that day, she had to return home to deal with the needs of her own family, even for a short time, and the fire was allowed to go out. At this time, a dark presence entered her home. A Fae replaced the child with her own. She took the original child back with her and left the faeling. No one would have noticed anything unusual if the child had not, during its baptism, cried like a fiend. It took weeks to notice any change, but eventually it became ugly, cried continuously, and was so greedy it devoured everything that came in its path. The parents, being poor, could not afford this, and there was no doubt in their mind that their child had been replaced. This is the legend of the Changeling. Hello and welcome to the Library of Chaos. As you saw in the intro, today we are looking at the legend of the Changeling, which is an interesting one, as its origins are scattered throughout Europe. But the Changeling proper, as it became known, arrived from a combination of fears, both from the Christian belief of demonic possession and the Irish and Scandinavian backgrounds of fae. As this was a new time, and many of these once pagan traditions were now being Christianized, they did combine into some mass of fear. The general fear of the Changeling was that a child had been replaced. These children were not good. They were believed to be possessed by demons or be of fae descent, evil, designed to inflict harm upon the parents. They were said to be ravenous, unending, and fussy beyond belief. They were confrontational and fought the parents and wouldn't exactly fit into the social order. As such, many parents who believed they had changeling children looked to an answer to get their original child back. And herein lies the true horror of the mystery of the Changeling. Because, unlike several myths that may not have been enacted and were just believed, this was a evolving legend that was very much in the culture of medieval Europe. especially Scandinavia, northern Germany, and Ireland. And the belief that a child had been replaced was very real. But what were these children in actuality? Likely just children with deformities or birth defects, or even neurodivergencies like autism and ADHD, and many others. There was just something different about these children that didn't fit with the others. And as it goes in that period, there was a belief that everything should fit, and there was a necessity for people fulfilling their purpose, as most people were just trying to survive and couldn't handle the stresses of a neurodivergent or deformed child, so they turned to other answers. Unfortunately, the answers of this period were to torture the child or make the child laugh. Unfortunately, the first one was far more prevalent, as the belief was if this was a Fae's child, the Fae would protect it and bring their child back. As was said in the story of Bretna, that story that I read at the beginning, the advice that the mother was given was to build a fire in the bake oven 3 Thursday evenings in succession, and lay the young one upon the bake shovel and pretend to throw them in the fire. The advice was followed, and when the woman, the third evening, was in the act of throwing the changeling into the fire, it seemed a little deformed, evil-eyed woman rushed up to the natural child, threw it in the crib, and requested the return of her child. For, said she, I have never treated your child so badly, and I have never thought to do such harm as you propose doing mine. Whereupon she took the unnatural child and vanished through the door. The belief was, if they inflicted pain, or almost inflicted pain upon the child, that the Fae would return theirs. And this led to a lot of abuse. Neurodivergent and birth defect children have always been ostracized and harmed by society. And this was a form of that, to the point where they thought it was demonic possession, or this couldn't be a human child, it must be a Fae child, because the understanding of those processes was so little. And that is what a lot of the horrors found in these folklores are, the lack of understanding, leading to pain and strife. And the combination of religious backgrounds also fused to form a strange mix in a time where information was not prevalent. And the need for strength was paramount in the minds of all. But that is the tragedy of the Changeling. But what was the belief, really, except fear? It is unfortunate that we fear the unknown the way that we do. And it is my belief that we should always be striving for more information, but in a time when information was scarce, many parents did what they could. And there was a silver lining in this story that many of the children who were subjected to the torments of being believed as a changeling did still find a way to thrive if they survived. King Charles I of England, for example, in 1600, many believed to be a changeling, and they thought he was, but he strived to succeed, pushed past that, and because he was a king's son, he was not killed. He was able to live. And he became a very strong king, one that England needed when they had him. All that to say, I thank you for your time, and next time we'll look at something even a bit darker, as we explore what these fae truly were, and where they came from. I have been your curator and your guide until we meet again in the Library of Chaos.